I be looking up. The shit I be looking up, man, is ridiculous. Alright, it's been a while. But every day I've been doing it, whether I do it on camera or not. 200, day 224. You know I ain't checked. Take no LinkedIn. See what happened. Nothing. Absolutely no one gives a fuck about me. Alright, let's see what this is. Damn, it's a bunch of reading.
What is file inclusion?
What?
This room aims to equip you with the essential knowledge to exploit file inclusion vulnerabilities, including local file inclusion, LFI, remote file inclusion, RFI, and directory traversal. Also, we will discuss the risk of these vulnerabilities if they're found and the required remediation. We provide some practical examples of each vulnerability as well as hands-on challenges. In some scenarios, web applications are written to request access to files on a given system, including images.
Inclusion, remote file inclusion, and directory traversal. Drop. Let's see. I want someone IT. Yeah, that guy's face. We got everyone on there but my ass. It might be, yeah. Oh, tired.
In some scenarios, Web applications are written to request access to files on a given system, including images, static text, and so on via parameters. Parameters are query parameter strings attached to the URL.
God, I didn't process any of this. Alright, let's fucking...
This remains to equip you with the essential knowledge to exploit file inclusion vulnerabilities, including local file inclusion, LFI, remote file inclusion, RFI, and directory traversal.
It's hard.
Also, we will discuss the risk of these vulnerabilities if they're found and the required remediation.
Okay.
We provide some practical examples of each vulnerability as well as hands-on challenges.
Okay.
In some scenarios, web applications are written to request access to files on a given system, including images, static text, and so on via parameters. Parameters are query parameter strings attached to the URL that could be used to retrieve data or perform actions based on user input. The following diagram breaks down the essential parts of a URL.
Yeah, that's a domain name. That's the protocol. That's right. That's right. That's the file name. That is correct. The file name is that. And the query string begins with the question mark. That is correct. And parameters is it file? I feel like that is the parameter. Not important. I mean, it is, but it's not.
For example, parameters are used with Google searching, where GET requests pass user input into the search engine. HTTP URL. If you are not familiar with the topic, you can view the How the Web Works module to understand the concept.
What the fuck did it just say?
Line. HTTP URL. If you are not. File inclusion.
Damn it.
Let's discuss a scenario where a user requests to access files from a web server. First, the user sends an HTTP request to the web server that includes a file to display. For example, if a user wants to access and display their CV within the web application, the request may look as follows: HTTP URL, where the file is the parameter and the user CV.pdf is the required file to access.
What are parameters in a URL? Oh, you know what I need to do real quick, so just so in case I don't get it in time. Just in case I didn't get that shit in time. Query. And it ends with the equal sign. Is that what's saying? The equal sign stops the parameters? Well, it says it says the parameters start with the question mark and ends. Okay. I kind of understand it. Toothless. Just tired.
Why do file inclusion vulnerabilities happen? File inclusion vulnerabilities are commonly found and exploited in various programming languages for web applications, such as PHP, that are poorly written and implemented. The main issue of these vulnerabilities is the input validation, in which the user inputs are not sanitized or validated, and the user controls them. When the input is not validated, the user can pass any input to the function, causing the vulnerability. What is the risk of file inclusion? By default, an attacker can leverage file inclusion vulnerabilities to leak data, such as code, credentials, or other important files related to the web application or operating system. Moreover, if the attacker can write files to the server by any other means, file inclusion might be used in tandem to gain remote command execution, RCE.
Okay, what is file inclusion? Because it didn't really explain that well. Read that for me, AI.
File inclusion is a web security vulnerability that allows attackers to include and execute unauthorized files on a server, leading to data breaches, system control, or server compromise. It occurs when a web application improperly validates user input used in file system functions like include, or require, in PHP, enabling attackers to inject paths to malicious or sensitive files stored locally or on remote servers. How file inclusion vulnerabilities work. Local file inclusion, LFI, an attacker manipulates input to access files on the server itself, such.
Let's see. I am tired. Every day I am just tired. I tell you that. Should have done that one first, huh? Red team is hard.
As configuration files containing database credentials. This often involves using directory traversal characters, / to escape the intended directory and access other parts of the file system. Remote file inclusion, RFI, the attacker tricks the application into including a file from a remote server, which they control. The remote file can contain malicious code that the server then executes. Examples: LFI example, a URL like HTTP URL.
I get it. Just use the tab box. Alright, I gotta blow my nose toothless. she'll come back. If she wants, she'll come back.
Path traversal, also known as directory traversal, a web security vulnerability, allows an attacker to read operating system resources, such as local files on the server running an application. The attacker exploits this vulnerability by manipulating and abusing the web application's URL to locate and access files or directories stored outside the application's root directory. Path traversal vulnerabilities occur when the user's input is passed to a function such as file_get_contents in PHP. It's important to note that the function is not the
ring is like I'm not processing it.
Main contributor to the vulnerability. Often poor input validation or
fuck. Here.
The attacker exploits this vulnerability by manipulating and abusing the web application's URL to locate and access files or directories stored outside the application's root directory.
That's right.
Path traversal vulnerabilities occur when the user's input is passed to a function such as file_get_contents in PHP. It's important.
It is usually PHP. I feel like that would be more into the view source. That's more. Raw. It won't let you look up that website. My app analyzer doesn't fucking do a goddamn thing no more. Whatever.
To note that the function is not the main contributor to the vulnerability. Often poor input validation or filtering is the cause of the vulnerability. In PHP, you can use the file _get _contents to read the content of a file. You can find more information about the function here. The following graph shows how a web application stores files in /var/www/app. The happy path would be the user requesting the contents of user cv.pdf from a defined path /var/www/app/cvs.
Huh? File system has me confused. What? Obviously, it's Linux because I see var slash. What? What? Var app cv would be there /var/ etc.
We can test out the URL parameter by adding payloads to see how the web application behaves. Path traversal attacks, also known as the ... attack, take advantage of moving the directory one step up using the double /. If the attacker finds the entry point, which in this case get.php, file equals, then the attacker may send something as follows: http URL. Suppose there is an input validation.
// etc. Password. Info chooses post it. Huh. So it's confused. What if it's hosted on a Windows machine then? Okay. Damn it, I keep clicking that.
And instead of accessing the PDF files at /var/www/app/cvs location, the web application retrieves files from other directories, which in this case /etc/password. Each entry moves one directory until it reaches the root directory /. Then it changes the directory to /etc, and from there, it read the password file.
What if it's not on the Linux machine? I forgot what's stored there. Okay, Toothless. Come here. If you're gonna keep me out, come here. Yeah, I remember that's what it looks like. Toothless, come here. If you're gonna keep me out, come here. Keeps on meowing, baby. Why? Why do you keep meowing? Huh? Why do you keep meowing? I love my cat. She is such a good girl. She is such a good girl. heard something, but I don't want to get up. I have cameras for a reason. I have cameras for a reason. Oh, it's a raccoon. Hey, raccoon. What you doing, raccoon? He ran off. How come my camera don't ever pick that raccoon up? It's like too small of an animal or something. I don't know why I'm reading that.
Similarly, if the web application runs on a Windows server,
That's
the
what I was
attacker
wondering.
needs to provide Windows paths. For example, if the attacker wants to read the boot.ini file located in c:\boot.ini, then the attacker
It's not in Linux. Is that true? Damn it. When was that stored at? I don't see that anywhere. Oh, it's probably on Windows Server. Is it on Windows Server? Let's figure that out real quick. Okay, let's go. Ooh, it's fine. VirtualBox. It probably needs an update by now. New version found. I'm sure you did. We'll do that later. Let's see. Let's see. We will see. I kind of got poop. Just a little bit. While waiting for that to load, let's go back.
Similarly, if the web application runs on a Windows server, the attacker needs to provide Windows paths. For example, if the attacker wants to read the boot.ini file located in c:\boot.ini,
I've already read all that. So that does the same thing even on Windows? God, it must be. I haven't turned that machine on in so long. It's probably trying to update.
The same concept applies here as with Linux operating systems, where we climb up directories until it reaches the root directory, which is usually. Sometimes, developers will add filters to limit access to only certain files or directories. Below are some common OS files you could use when testing.
Damn it. Tab. Input. Control. Hell, I don't know what the fuck the password is. Fuck. Damn. Okay. Sure. Yeah, well, I don't know where it's at. Why I don't see boot.ini? Whatever. Whatever. It's just playing. It's playing the shutdown. Shut down anyway. Yeah, because domain controllers aren't designed to be shut down. Just read that to me, boy.
Location description / etc. / issue contains a message or system identification to be printed before the login prompt. / etc. / profile controls system-wide default variables, such as export variables, file creation mask, mask, terminal types, mail messages to indicate when new mail has arrived /proc / version specifies the version of the Linux kernel etc. / password has all registered users that have access to a system / etc. / shadow contains information about the system's users password / root / .bash _ history contains the history commands for root users / var / log / message contains global.
I wonder. It's probably. Because I remember using it all the time. I think it always gets corrupted. Oh, sudo. Whatever. I forgot how to use sudo.
System messages, including the messages that are logged during system startup / var / mail / root all emails for root users / root /
I wonder. Let's go back to. Let's open up Kali.
.ssh / ID _ RSA private SSH keys for a root or any known valid user on the server / var / log / Apache 2 / access.log. The accessed requests for Apache web server C:\\boot.ini contains the boot options for computers with BIOS firmware.
Well, I can't find that anywhere. Load. I'm gonna wait for that to load real quick. Hey, beautiful. You're so beautiful. Yes, you are. Yep, see, it always has that. Alright. See, it's always corrupted. Alright, let's go up here. Let's see if anything has on that. Oops, hang on. Whatever. Let's update. Whatever. Whatever. Oh, I didn't try that one. Oh, I know I've ran an Apache web server. Fuck, I want to know. We'll try that one later. Hurry up, hurry up. I want to go back and I should have checked that.
Local file inclusion, LFI. LFI attacks against web applications are often due to a developer's lack of security awareness. With PHP, using functions such as include, require, include _once, and require _once often contribute to vulnerable web applications. In this room, we'll be picking on PHP, but it's worth noting LFI vulnerabilities also occur when using other languages such as ASP, JSP, or even in Node.js apps. LFI exploits follow the same concepts as path traversal. In this section, we will walk you through various LFI.
Why does it keep talking? Toothless, chill out, baby. Okay, which one didn't have Windows 11? No internet. Why did I do? I don't know why I did that. I think I did that to test shit or something. To test shit. Get language, English, and what's AR? Nothing. Oh, damn it. Whoa, I didn't click that. Toothless, you gotta calm down, baby. I'm trying to fucking look at shit. So there's something there. Hang on. Okay, let's just use. Now, where's my user password? I don't even see mine. So where, I don't understand. There's Callie. Finally, Jacob turned. So there's Callie. How come Callie's on here? I don't know.
The PHP code above uses a GET request via the URL parameter line to include the file of the page. The call can be done by sending the following HTTP request as follows: HTTP URL. To load the English page or HTTP.
You have to. It's just. Index. So the parameter would be language. So parameter is language in English.php to load the English page or language.
Theoretically, we can access and display any readable file on the server from the code above if there isn't any input validation. Let's say we want to read the /etc/password file, which contains sensitive information about the users of the Linux operating system. We can try the following: HTTP URL. In this
file, because it's a parameter, so instead of language parameter, they're using a parameter of file equals. I wonder what you have to do, the dot 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 slash dot dot dot.
In this case, it works because there isn't a directory specified in the include function and no input validation. Now apply what we discussed and try to read /etc/password file. Also, answer question number 1 below. Number 2. Next, in
PHP. File equals. I'm looking for it. That is right. Yep. Alright, whatever. Get lane.
In the above code, the developer decided to use the include function to call PHP pages in the languages directory only via lang parameters. If there is no input validation, the attacker can manipulate the URL by replacing the lang input with other OS-sensitive files such as /etc/. In the above code, the developer decided to use the include function.
Alright, I think it sure is taking a very sweet time. What's up with the damn thing? Did it log out? No? Whatever.
In the above code, the developer decided to use the include function to call PHP pages in the languages directory only via lang parameters. If there is no input validation, the attacker can manipulate the URL by replacing the lang input with other OS-sensitive files such as /etc/password. Again, the payload looks similar to the path traversal, but the include function allows us to include any called files into the current page. The following will be the exploit, HTTP URL. Now apply what we discussed, try to read files within the server, and figure out the directory specified in the include function and answer question number 2 below.
Let's see. Wish the hint will work. I don't remember how I even got that answer. Includes. Okay.
In this task, we go a little bit deeper into LFI. We discussed a couple of techniques to bypass the filter within the include function. Number 3. In the first two cases, we checked the code for the web app, and then we knew how to exploit it. However, in this case, we are performing black box testing, in which we don't have the source code. In this case, errors are significant in understanding how the data is passed and processed into the web app.
Let's see what we got on Indeed. I ain't check that shit in a minute. They never put their pay on there. No. Alright.
In this task, we go a little bit deeper into LFI. We discussed a couple of techniques to bypass the filter within the include function. Number 3. In the first two cases, we checked the code for the web app, and then we knew how to exploit it. However, in this case, we are performing black box testing, in which we don't have the source code.
What is black box? What is black box? Okay.
In this case, errors are significant in understanding how the data is passed and processed into the web app. In this scenario, we have the following entry point, HTTP URL. If we enter an invalid input, such as THM, we get the following error. The error message discloses significant information. By entering THM as input, an error message shows what the include function looks like. Include.
Huh.
Languages/thm.php. If you look at the directory closely, we can tell the
I don't see languages anywhere. Well, it says includes, whatever.
function includes files in the languages directory is adding .php at the end of the entry. Thus the valid input will be something as follows, index.php, lang equals n, where the file n.
How did I just fucking do that? Whatever.
Is located inside the given languages directory and named n.php. Also, the error message disclosed another important piece of information about the full web application directory path, which is /var/www/html/thm4/. To exploit this, we need to use the /trig,
That's
as
why I tried.
described in the directory traversal section, to get out the current folder. Let's try the following. HTTP.
That's why I literally just tried that, not even thinking. Var 1, 2, 3. I only got 3. Yeah, I got same error. Okay, and now it's telling me why I got same error. Okay.
It seems we could move out of the PHP directory, but still, the include function reads the input with .php at the end.
Okay, hang on, let's see. Let's compare the differences. Hang on, 10 dot, what is it? Yeah, let's see, 10, 2, 1, 3, 5, 3. No, don't you fucking do that, you motherfucker.
It seems we could move out of the PHP directory, but still, the include function reads the input with .php at the end. This tells us that the developer specifies the file type to pass to the include function.
I'm still seeing that PHP at the end.
To bypass this scenario, we can use the null byte, which is %00. Using null bytes is an injection technique where URL encoded representations such as %00 or 0x00 in hex with user supplied data to terminate strings. You could think of it as trying to trick the web app into disregarding whatever comes after the null byte. By adding the null byte at the end of the payload, we tell the include function to ignore anything after the null byte, which may look like include, like.
Oh, the trick is fixed.
Number 4. In this section, the developer decided to filter keywords to avoid disclosing sensitive information. The /etc/password file is being filtered. There are two possible methods to bypass the filter. First, by using the null byte %00 or the current directory trick at the end of the filtered keyword /. The exploit will be similar to HTTP URL. To make it clearer, if we try this concept in the file system using cd, it will get you back one step. However, if you do cd, it stays in the current directory. Similarly, if we try /etc/password/, it results to be /etc/ and that's because we moved one to the root. Now if we try /etc/password/. The result will be /etc/password since dot refers to the current directory. Now apply this technique in lab number 4 and figure out to read /etc/password. Number 5. Next, in the following scenarios, the developer starts to use input validation by filtering some keywords. Let's test out and check the error message. HTTP URL. We got the following error.
Include slash.
If we check the warning message in the include languages /etc/password section, we know that the web application replaces the slash with the empty string. There are a couple of techniques we can use to bypass this. First, we can send the following payload to bypass it, slash
What's it doing?
Slash, 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 slash.
Shut up.
Why did this work? This works because the PHP filter only matches and replaces the first subset string slash it finds and doesn't do another pass, leaving what is pictured below.
Huh? Filters that, but doesn't filter the other. Well, that was easy.
Finally, we'll discuss the case where the developer forces the include to read from a defined directory. For example, if the web application asks to supply input that has to include a directory such as HTTP URL.
Oh. What was the hex version of that? Oh. Okay, that's all. trying to think. Huh. Okay. Okay. One, two. Fuck, man, I don't know. That's not. I want to walk through. File. Okay. That's why I tried. THM dash profile slash. That's literally what I tried. What? I didn't do enough slashes. Man, I thought I was doing it. I need to fix this. I'm trying to study. I'm tired. Alright, I'm about done for today.
Remote file inclusion, RFI. Remote file inclusion, RFI, is a technique to include remote files into a vulnerable application. Like LFI, the RFI occurs when improperly sanitizing user input, allowing an attacker to inject an external URL into include function. One requirement for RFI is that the allow_URL_FIPN option needs to be on.
What?
The risk of RFI is higher.
What is an F open wrapper? Okay. F open file good content. Fuck, I'm tired. You could, for example, use it. Huh, okay.
Then LFI. Since RFI vulnerabilities allow an attacker to gain remote command execution, RCE, on the server. Other consequences of a successful RFI attack include sensitive information disclosure, cross-site scripting, XSS, denial of service, DOS. An external server must communicate with the application server for a successful RFI attack where the attacker hosts malicious files on their server. Then the malicious file is injected into the include.
What did it say? Hang on.
An external server must communicate with the application server for a successful RFI attack where the attacker hosts malicious files on their server. Then the malicious file is injected into the include.
Yeah, toothless. Yeah. Alright. Too busy playing like that.
An external server must communicate with the application server for a successful RFI attack where.
Why does my cat like to sit in my lap when I'm studying, but not when but doesn't lay in bed with me when I'm sleeping? Aww. She just wants interaction. Is that what it is? phone. And that's, I think that's what it is. She just wants. It's the 11. She just wants the 11. That's what you want. You just want some 11. She's like, oh. She's like, oh. She loves it. Oh, y'all can't see that. I'm petting the hell out of my cat right now. I am petting the fuck out of my cat. Alright. I'm going to stop at 10.
An external server must communicate with the application server for a successful RFI attack where the attacker hosts malicious files on their server.
Run. Did that PHP.
The figure above is an example of steps for a successful RFI attack. Let's say that the attacker hosts a PHP file on their own server HTTP URL, where command text contains a printing message hello THM. First, the attacker injects the malicious URL, which points to the attacker's server, such as HTTP URL. If there is no input validation, then the malicious URL passes into the include function. Next, the web app server will send a GET request to the malicious server to fetch the file. As a result, the web app includes the remote file into include function to execute the PHP file within the page and send the execution content to the attacker. In our case, the current page somewhere has to show the hello THM message.
Let's see, is there a fucking...
As a developer, it's important to be aware of web application vulnerabilities, how to find them, and prevention methods. To prevent the file inclusion vulnerabilities, some common suggestions include: keep system and services, including web application frameworks, updated with the latest version. Turn off PHP errors to avoid leaking the path of the application and other potentially revealing information. A web application firewall, WAF, is a good option to help mitigate web application attacks. Disable some PHP features that cause file inclusion vulnerabilities if your web app doesn't need them, such as allow_URL_open on and allow_URL_include. Carefully analyze the web application and allow only protocols and PHP wrappers that are in need. Never trust user input, and make sure to implement proper input validation against file inclusion. Implement whitelisting for file names and locations as well as blacklisting. Great job! Now apply the techniques you've learned to capture the flags. Familiarizing yourself with HTTP web basics could help you complete these challenges. Make sure the attached VM is up and running, then visit HTTP URL. Steps for testing for LFI: find an entry point that could be via GET, POST, cookie, or HTTP header values. Enter a valid input to see how the web server behaves. Enter invalid inputs, including special characters and common file names. Don't always trust what you supply in input forms is what you intended. Use either a browser address bar or a tool such as Burp Suite. Look for errors while entering invalid input to disclose the current path of the web application. If there are no errors, then trial and error might be your best option. Understand the input validation and if there are any filters. Try the inject a valid entry to read sensitive files.
No fun. I'm confused. How do I do this in Firefox? Damn it. This fucking thing's crashing. Oh, is there burp sweep in here? There is burp sweep. Okay. That's a lot easier. Flag one. Okay. Is there a burp? Oh, I forgot how to activate it. finally get it. What's wrong with that? Huh. Cookie. Cookies. Cookies. Where's that at? Oh man, that's too much right now. I don't know. I'm done. I'm doing that tomorrow. I'm fucking. That's just too much to try to comprehend it so late.